Welcome back, guys, to Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations, where last episode, after speaking to Miss Yu and Gumshoe more about the case, we proceeded into the hallway the detective was guarding to search for evidence, speaking to the judge about what he saw before starting our investigation. Having concluded a balloon was popped by a cactus via logical deduction, we now look below the scene of that murder, as we now continue our investigation further. Ants are pouring out of the hole in the bench as well. I wonder if the inside of this bench consists of nothing but ants. Don't you dare continue with that gross line of force. I'm sorry. Well, they're going down to something else, but I meant to click on that. I looked on this bench. It smells like some sort of sweet substance. I can't believe there is someone going around dirtying the courthouse. For shame. Calm down, Francisca. Now take a good look. Doesn't this smudge look kind of like a handprint to you? I suppose it could be. Which means that perhaps we can lift the prints of the person who studied this bench. I see, and then we'll know the identity of our mystery slob. You there, lab technician. Could you please find out who this handprint belongs to? Sir, yes sir! I've got the results of the fingerprint analysis, sir. And, do we know who they belong to? Sir, the fingerprints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Oh, interesting. Good work, officer. Seems like Detective Bad was interested too. Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints are jotted down in my organizer. And there you have it. Yes, I suppose so. Now we know the identity of the person who dirtied the bench. I sense that you and I will be using this information in very different ways. Yes, because now we've just basically uncovered the fact that the judge says he couldn't see anyone in the hallway, so of course Detective Gumshoe left the hallway. But now it appears that Detective Gumshoe sat down, which put him at a level that the judge could not see him from his urinal or the bathroom, wherever he was standing. Alright, still that to check out, I guess. What are these black speckles? I believe it's a pile of ants eating away. Oh, that detective! He claims that not a single ant slipped by him. And yet, there is a whole hill of them. Ah! What are you hitting me for? As a replacement for that pathetic detective. Ah! Perhaps I should add this deduction to the detective's growing tab of pay cuts. Anyway, I wonder what the ants are eating. One look and the sweet smell of it, pieces of cake and chocolate from a Swiss roll. Found on the floor under the bench, a hill of ants are attracted to its sweet scent. Miles Edgeworth, the courthouse is to be kept pristine at all times. Yah! It wasn't me that dropped food on the ground. The courthouse must be kept clean. Yah! Okay, gosh. However, I'm guessing now that we have a little bit more to link up. Or maybe not, actually. The Swiss roll crumbs and the vending machine could very much be connected. But I was expecting to kind of weirdly link that with the evidence of the Swiss roll that we found, but still, that's not how this game works. Must remember that fact. These bits of chocolate and cake, could they not have come from a Swiss roll? A Swiss roll? Why would a courthouse sell a thing like that? It may not seem like the right venue, however, it is being sold right over there. The vending machine. I see. Stay neutral as the Swiss do until the end with these. 2 for $6, talk about expensive! Leaving the fact that it's on the expensive side aside, the fact that the cake crumbs and chocolate bits were found in this hallway suggests that they came from a Swiss roll that was purchased from this machine. Oh. I think I have a pretty clear picture of what happened here now. Naturally, after all, I'm here, aren't I? I haven't spoke to Detective Badge yet or looked in the bins. Detective Gumshoe must have sat on this bench as he ate a Swiss roll. And as he ate, he dropped it on the floor and sullied the bench. When the balloon popped? Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints data updated in my organizer. How could he have not cleaned up after himself? How utterly despicable! Don't you dare whip me again. It wasn't I who made the mess in the first place. Anyway, if it was indeed Detective Gumshoe who bought the Swiss roll, that creates a rather interesting contradiction of facts. A contradiction? Where? I think another look at the special courthouse vending machine is in order. Yes. He only had $5. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. It sounds really weird for me as an English person, but whenever I think of when I look at it like thing, it's like, instead of like, when I say £5, as in it's £5 as in like a price for something in our own currency, I don't think £5 separately. Do you know what I mean? So it's £5. But in America, isn't it dollars instead of it's $6? You say it's $6. So that's a really weird like cultural difference. I'd say £5, £6, £7, £8, £9, but you drop the S over here and you have the S in America for dollars. Why is that? Why is that difference in the money, I wonder? Are we weird? Are we weird? Am I weird? Probably me. Probably me. Alright, let's deduce. I think we're deducing that. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Now, I think the problem here is if this Gumshoe was to buy it, he didn't actually have the money because he just cashed the $5 he had today. Literally had no money until he cashed this. He needs $1 extra. About Detective Gumshoe's finances, he said that until this morning, he didn't have even a single penny on his personage. Just how poor is that guy? If his bonus really was only $5, then he should not have been able to purchase a pack of Swiss rolls. However, facts being as they are, we found cake crumbs on the floor. Meaning Scruffy must have bought a pack somehow. Indeed. A detective should not have been able to purchase a pack, and yet he did. The question is, how? I think we know. So he's $1 short. Now who do we do? What do we talk to now? Let's look at the bins. We can't actually look at the bins. Guess we're speaking to you. Detective Bad, I have something I wish to inquire about. Hey, how about doing some actual work, you? I wish to inquire into Detective Gumshoe's movements during the recess. They're getting in the way of the investigation. I have an order from Mr. Von Karma himself, plus I still hold investigative authority. Alright, let's speak it up. So I hear you were the one who called for Detective Gumshoe to come down here. Faraday. That guy was just accused, you know. I just knew something was going to happen. My detective's instinct told me. A lot of good it did you. You couldn't even protect one lone prosecutor with it. Hold it! Francisca, I think you need to apologize. Ah, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry, Detective Bad. Please continue. I used the phone on the first floor and called the precinct. I told them to send somebody over. And that detective's the one that showed up. And only upon his arrival did you set Detective Gumshoe to stand guard, Detective Bad? Yeah, I waited for him on the first floor. After he got here, we came up to these defendant lobbies together. As we entered this hallway, we ran into you. She told us that Faraday was really mad. And that he dragged Rel off to lobby number 2 to have a word or something. And that Faraday had said to not let anyone interrupt them. So what choice did I have? All I could do was tell the big lug to stand guard outside. And around that time did all of... around what time did all that take place? Yes. Let's see. I think it was about 30 minutes before I heard the gunshot. After giving the big lug his assignment, he never left the hallway, not once. Oh, and how can you make such a claim? One of the guards out in this floor's main lobby swore to me he didn't. If the detective never left the hallway, then where did he disappear off to? That's simple. He must have gone into lobby number 2, just as I suspected. You and I, we were in lobby number 1 next door. The only one without an alibi is Gumshoe. It would seem that I am still missing some key pieces of information. They're at the gun shop. Detective Badge, you also heard the gunshot, did you not? Yeah. I heard it when I was in the defendant lobby number 1. That's why I came running towards lobby number 2 together with you. How much time elapsed between you hearing the gunshot and your arrival on the scene? Less than a minute. What were your movements upon hearing the gunshot? I grabbed the big lug who was just walking around the hall. You speak faster, it's tripping me up so much. And raced into lobby number 2. And that's when we discovered the bodies. In that order. That makes you the discoverer of the crime scene, right? Yeah, I guess it does, little miss. I'm about to become a prosecutor very soon. You will treat me with the dignity I deserve, or else. You wave that thing around anymore? And I'll have you arrested for obstruction, little miss. You wouldn't dare. Just joking. Ah! Detective Bad is really something if we can make Francisca behave. Are we about done? Is there anything else I should ask him about? Ooh. The time he heard the gunshot, the place he heard the gunshot, the situation around the gunshot. Literally everything of this. But I guess the timing, because that balloon's going to be important, right? I'd like for you to tell me the exact time you heard the gunshot. It was around the end of the recess, and the trial was about to start again. I think. He was supposed to make time for himself to transfer the evidence he was holding. But I got the sense he wasn't going to show for the handoff. So I figured I should go get him, or he'd be late. And just as I thought that, bang! The sound of a gunshot hit my eardrums. So we heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to restart. Okay, we got that testimony. That was what we were after then. Are we done here? I didn't have any time to waste. Oh, come on. All you're doing is standing in front of this door doing nothing. I get the sense that he is somewhat investigating this crime scene. Or rather that he's keeping us under surveillance. But to what end? Detective Bad, may I ask that you cooperate with us for just a bit longer? I don't have anything else to say. The two of you. You guys were the ones who said you wanted to investigate in the first place. Fine then, be obstinate. We'll just do as we please. Come on, Miles. You may no longer be willing to help us. However, may I ask for the forensic scientist's cooperation? Do as you like. Right, forensic team is on our case, or on the case with us, but now our investigation is complete, so what do we need them for? I believe I now have a very firm grasp on what happened here. Well, I do too! Do you? Alright, Francisca, would you care to share what conclusions you've come to? Why should I do that? We're still in the middle of a competition, you know. We should be checking to see if your conclusions are wrong first, so you go ahead. It's almost cute that she's going this far to ensure that she wins. Almost. Very well, but first we need to pay his honor a visit to correct his testimony. Do we? Well, we are. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to test your witness testimony to see how it stands up.
Do you doubt me? Am I your new suspect?
In a sense, I suppose you could say that. Even you, a judge, is nothing but a common witness before Von Karma.
Silence in the courtroom! Silence, I said! Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Van Peppercorn Palmer and mischievous prosecutor successor Owl.
You bit your tongue again, didn't you?
As a defender of the law, I could never give false testimony. You can even place me under oath if you want.
Very well then. Your testimony, if you please. What I saw at recess.
During the recess, I went to the restroom. There's a window on the hallway side. In other words, I could see into the hallway. As I entered, I saw that detective buying something from the vending machines. But when I was about to exit the restroom, he had completely disappeared. A detective that goes missing while on duty. That sounds mighty suspicious to me.
Your Honor, can you please try to remain calm?
Well, I'm so used to simply listening to testimonies that I got caught up in the excitement.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to spoil your fun now. What I saw at recess, it's just so dumb. You literally just sat down.
During the recess, I went to the restroom.
Hold it! I was asking about his weak bladder. Your Honor, why exactly did you pay a visit to the restroom, if I may ask?
Oh, well, isn't it obvious? What else do you go to the restroom for? Or maybe I knew it! You suspect me of some sort of tomfoolery, don't you?
Please stay calm, Your Honor. This is going to be much harder than I anticipated.
I'm sorry. You're right. I need to think things through with a level head. I'm just nervous because so much has happened today with this trial. Let's see. I announced a recess and a time for us to reconvene, but having done all that, I still wasn't able to go to the restroom right away.
And why couldn't you?
Mr. Faraday had been accused, so I had paperwork to process regarding a new prosecutor. Once I had finished that, I was finally able to make a mad dash to the restroom.
At least you stayed consistent on the going to the restroom part of his testimony.
There's a window on the hallway side. In other words, I could see into the hallway.
Your Honor, did you really go to the men's restroom?
What is the meaning of that statement?
I simply meant that perhaps you went to a restroom on a different floor.
I had to go for such a long time. It was all I could do to dash to the closest one to the courtroom.
I suppose that's only natural given his circumstances.
I ran from the courtroom through this floor to main lobby and down the hallway. Once you enter, you can see there's a window just above the urinals. And it was through that window that you witnessed Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor. Wrong voice. Wrong voices all the time now. Yes, exactly.
See, I'm guessing they have a restroom window because you never know if like someone could be doing anything weird in it, considering there's criminals coming in or not. Do you know what I mean? So I'm guessing there might be a window for that reason. But it's weird that that window just looks through into the hallway too, over the courtyard. But actually the restroom is into the courtyard. Why are these windows placed there? It's really, really weird. Really, really weird.
Your Honor, there's no need to yell. I can hear you just fine. Oh, I guess I put a little too much into that last answer. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. As I entered, I saw the detective buying something from the vending machines.
Well, then you literally saw it. Are you sure that the person you witnessed was Detective Gumshoe, Your Honor? Thanks for cooperating, by the way.
Yes, I'm absolutely sure. It's hard to miss someone of his stature, even from as far away as the restroom. Besides, I can't think of anyone else with that kind of hairstyle and big beige coat.
Well, I was simply wondering if you were mistaken in what you saw.
What? Preposterous. My eyes were as sharp as can be, ready to see through lies and the truth. Although, recently, things do seem to be a bit fuzzier than they used to be.
Clearly his eyes are not the only things that have gone fuzzy.
But allow me to say with all the honor and dignity of a judge, I am not mistaken in what I saw. When I was about to exit the restroom, he had completely disappeared.
So how do we prove at this point? This is probably my thing. You sat down. He disappeared. But Your Honor, didn't you just say I saw that detective buying something from the vending machines?
Why, yes I did.
God, with this diagram.
The restroom window looks over the courtyard and right into the hallway, in case you didn't know. But just as I was about to exit, I took another look and there was no one in sight. That led me to the only solution to this mystery. A detective must have gone into the crime scene, lobby number 2 at that point.
So he looked into the hallway from the restroom and over the courtyard, did he?
Blatant lie. A detective to go to missing while on duty. That sounds mighty suspicious to me.
Right, well, can I present something to this? I guess it's this. Left on the hallway bench, Detective Gumshoe apparently sat here as he ate a swift roll.
What was that finger wag for, Mr. Edgeworth? And don't you know it's rude to shout objection while someone is giving testimony?
Ha! If you truly are a man of the law, then you must always be vigilant. For example, I myself never let an opportunity to shout objection pass me by. Miles Edgeworth, it's one thing to be passionate about your job, but this is real life. This is what some people may say is the pot calling the kettle black. Your Honor, I wonder if you might take a look at this for me.
What is that filth? How dare someone dirty the hallway bench like that? Who is the culprit? That party is hereby found guilty of uncleanliness.
If you must know, the uncouth bench sullier has already been placed under arrest thanks to your earlier testimony, Your Honor.
Oh, well, that's good. But who was it?
We were able to discover something from the smudge on the bench, namely Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints.
Not happy with committing such murder, he had to go and dirty the courthouse too? Guilty!
Your Honor, please calm down. While it's true that the detective is the one who made the mess on the bench, we have not yet established that this action is related to the double murder.
What do you mean?
I believe that the detective bought a pack of Swiss rolls from the vending machine, and then probably sat down on the bench to eat one. The cake crumbs and pieces of chocolate on the floor under the bench, and Detective Gumshoe's fingerprints prove my conclusions to be true.
Oh, but I still don't understand. Is this whole thing related to how I couldn't see it as I was leaving the restroom?
It is indeed. The window in the hallway was built rather high up into the wall, at around a grown adult's chest height. As evidence, I submit that Franziska herself was unable to see out of that window. Ah! I knew I shouldn't have used her height as evidence. But basically, what this means is that the area directly under the hallway window is a blind spot when the hallway is being viewed from the men's restroom.
Then...
It seems that you have made the connection. If someone were to sit on the bench under the window, yes, even someone as large as Detective Gumshoe would effectively disappear from sight.
What?
You finally see, Your Honor. Your testimony has just proven that Detective Gumshoe was in the hallway the entire time.
Ah, sorry. I didn't mean to say it with that much enthusiasm. All I wanted to do was try saying it once. Here, let me try that again. Hold it!
Is there something of value that you'd like to say?
Yes, actually there is. I remember something else just now. Mr. Edgeworth, please allow me to testify to the court one more time.
Even if we overruled him, he'd just keep on talking, wouldn't he? That might not be a bad thing. The more info, the better in a perfect investigation, right? What I Saw, Part 2.
I suppose it's possible you can see a seated person from the restroom window. However, that doesn't mean the detective was sitting there when I looked. Anyway, I forgot to testify earlier about probably the most important detail. As I was leaving the restroom, I heard the loud bang of a gunshot. How was that? That is the testimony of one who judges the crime of others.
Your Honor, could you try to state the important facts first next time? I agree. Before you go around judging others, you should learn to judge your own words.
I'm sorry. But honestly, I thought that sandwich was a noise bomber until just now.
Now that he mentions it, right before we restarted the trial, he did talk about that.
Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson...
The most critical point in this argument is when did the judge look into the hallway, and whether that lines up with when the gun was actually fired. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to clarify a few details in your testimony.
For the rebuttal.
Let's press some more.
I suppose it's possible you can see a seated person from the restroom window.
Just because I want to do judge voice more. In that case, you can see that you were overconfident in your last testimony.
Now hold on there. I just said that it's possible you can see a seated person from the restroom this time. But you know something? I don't think you know when the prints you referenced were left on that bench, do you?
Ah! He's right.
While you have proven that it's possible the detective was sitting, I still have a problem with just when those fingerprints were left.
He's right. I've yet to prove when the fingerprints were left on that bench. While he feigns ignorance, his honor has seen a lot of life. With this judge, I mustn't underestimate him.
However, that doesn't mean that the detective was sitting there when I looked.
Hold it! As we established, you went to the restroom during the recess. However, at that point, or what point in the recess, did you look into that hallway?
After I called for a recess, I handled the change of prosecutor paperwork. Maybe about 20 minutes until we reconvened. Yes, that sounds about right.
Just as I expected. What did you expect? Times! We need times. Times. So he heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to begin. He heard it 20 minutes before. Times.
What were you expecting? And I demand to know what that all-knowing smile is for.
Your Honor, that statement you made just now is very important. I'd like for you to append it to your testimony.
Alright, if you insist. Let's see, I looked into that hallway about 20 minutes before we were to reconvene.
So is this where I'm like saying, this is the lie? The times that you heard the bang were not the right times.
Your Honor, I cannot allow you to make an objection.
What? Your Honor, I'm really sorry, but I cannot allow you to not allow me to make an objection.
Egad, I've been overruled.
Your Honor, there are simply too many holes in your testimony for my taste.
What do you mean by that?
You claim that you heard the gunshot during the recess, but that is simply not possible.
Mr. New Prosecutor recommended by Manfred von Ark.
Instead of biting your tongue, why don't you bite your tongue at something else? As in, shut up! Ah! I see you have no mercy for the elderly either, Franziska. Don't talk back to me unless you want me to be whipped. Oh, you want to be whipped in the back? Where have I been whipped thus far? The fact that you keep whipping people on the front is weirdly worse? I don't know. Front or back? What's worse? With your height, you'd need a stepladder or 4 to accomplish that.
Miss Edgeworth. My ears are not that far gone yet, I'll have you know. I can still hear just fine. And I heard the sound of a gunshot loud and clear in my own 2 ears.
Your Honor, I have here an interesting bit of testimony. It's from Detective Bad. And according to him, he heard the gunshot right before the trial was about to start again.
What did you just say?
Your Honor, you just said that you heard the gunshot about 20 minutes before we were to reconvene. How would you explain this glaring contradiction?
That can't be!
Unfortunately, that is the truth.
But I heard it clear as day. Bang! The loud sound of a gunshot.
The sound of a gunshot. We keep returning to this point of contention. And that piece of evidence. I always did wonder why I found it where I did. However, now I understand what that gunshot the judge heard really was. Unfortunately, Your Honor, this is what really produced the gunshot you heard. The balloon! Take that! I found this object in the hallway earlier.
What is that pink substance?
It may not look it, but this is actually a piece of a balloon.
I see. And I suppose you would like me to accept that pink balloon into the court record?
Your Honor, I present this piece of evidence in order to overrule your testimony.
What?
Your Honor, your argument goes as follows. You saw no one in the hallway when you heard the gunshot. Now, there is no guarantee the detective was sitting on the bench at that time. Therefore, you believe he must have been at the crime scene, defendant lobby number 2. Am I correct?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the gunshot you heard was produced by a real gun? I think I've said enough that even you can figure the rest out on your own. Your Honor, you were fooled by the popping of this balloon into thinking it was a gunshot.
What manner of trickery is this?
That was a good effort you put forth, Miles Edgeworth. But if it was me, I'd have wrapped this thing up before the judge even testified. Care to elaborate on how one ends something before it even begins?
Well, to be honest, I did think that the sound was a bit off from a real gunshot sound. But who could have guessed that someone would pop a balloon in a place like this?
That's true. One doesn't usually think balloons in conjunction with courthouse. I want to trade these coins with you. That's it. That balloon that girl was holding. It explains everything. Your Honor, if it makes you feel any better, you didn't lie once in your testimony. However, I can't really vouch for its accuracy.
Who knew that giving testimony could be such a difficult thing to do? What have I done? I owe Detective Gumshoe a very, very big apology. I will see to it myself that he is released.
Wait. There are still a few things I have yet to resolve about what happened in the hallway. Your Honor, I request your permission to further question Detective Gumshoe. Well, we need to go off and talk to some people some more. I don't know if we're about to get a nice The End jingle, but we're passing the 30-minute marker. And you know what that means? The end of yet another episode of Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney Investigations. Where now we have to search our little girl because she's basically a Gumshoe's alibi at this point in time, as we will soon see. Hopefully next time. I hope you'll join me then for more. Bye-bye.